talk about a wall. The American people, I didn't ask for it. That's something that he promised the people when he was elected. Why should we have to pay for it? And they should come to some kind of agreement to open the government back up so people like me, my co-payers, and everybody else can go back to work.
It's just a reminder of how deeply personal this political shutdown, as it appears to be on both sides, is affecting and impacting nearly 800,000 Americans. To talk more about this is Lynn Sweet. She's the Washington bureau chief for the Chicago Sun-Times, and Wesley Lowery, who is the national reporter for the Washington Post. Thank you both for being here. As Ms. Johnson sort of stated very well, she didn't ask for this wall. President Trump has said something to the opposite, that actually federal workers want the wall. And we've got a CNN poll that shows 57% of people oppose a wall being built, only 38% favor it. So, Lynn, the president really seems to have dug in his heels here.
Well, he has, and I think the conversation needs to go back to the foundational point. He promised, no matter what you think of this wall, he promised Mexico will pay for it. That is a point of conversation that the Republicans seem to have forgotten in these months, and now 2 years have gone by. So the debate over the wall would not have led to a shutdown if Trump had kept the foundational promise central to his campaign. Two parts: I'll build a wall and Mexico will pay for it. He didn't have to promise Mexico will pay for it. He could have said, I'll build a wall and you good taxpayers will be paying for it. He didn't say that. And this is something that's not hard to understand. We're not talking about derivative funds through trade agreements. He said something plain and simple. He's not carrying it out. And I think that's just something to remember. I met Ms. Johnson on my way in today, and she just seems like a lovely woman going through all this uncertainty and stress over a debate that the president says is welcome in this country. It just can't be the... So when you look at all the workers who are having...
Oh, poor me.
...to get their paychecks over a political debate about an appropriation. That happens all the time.
These workers get well over $100,000 a year to sit on their butt half of the time. Plush vacations, sick days.
But still, waiting at all, not doing anything. In the public's mind, is it really that they're saying, oh, it's the Democrats or it's the Republicans, or are they just saying, oh boy, it's Washington again?
You know, my sense is that it's people who are thinking that, look, this is Washington, that the Congress...
And see, he's going to blame Trump.
...can't get along.
Piece of...
That had this kind of shutdown politics now as a routine...
Communist News Network.
...in Washington for years, going back to the Obama administration, when a Republican Congress would not infrequently shut down the government at the time for trying to get rid of the funding for the Affordable Care Act. But I think that interview was extremely important and powerful because it speaks to a hidden set of people who often don't come up in these conversations. We talk very often about the government workers who are out of work or who are not receiving their paychecks, but many of them will eventually receive that back pay. But people like Mrs. Johnson who are
people like Mrs.
are never
Johnson
going to receive the money that they otherwise would have made. And so here you have thousands, potentially tens or hundreds of thousands of people.
Yeah, that's why they're not going to work. They're not getting paid, and that's why they're not working.
Lower income, who are now going several weeks through the holidays without receiving paychecks potentially because of political fight in Washington.
You can't tell me that these federal employees are living paycheck to paycheck, and if they are, that's their own irresponsibility.
It's about his border wall, something that he campaigned on, something he said that Mexico...
Here we go, back to blaming Trump.
Yet here we are with people like Ms. Johnson who are going to have to worry how they're going to pay their bills next month because of this fight.
Lynn, it seems to me that both sides, and I mean Democrats and Republicans in the White House, both seem to have the sense that the longer it goes on, the better it is for them. And of course, the worst it is for all of those people who are now not working or working without pay. What is the political cost?
Working without pay? No, they're not working.
If I respectfully may disagree with your premise, I don't know if the rank and file Republican members at this stage think it's better.
Accessibility shortcuts, 11 items, voice guide.
What was that?
Full now with opening day
Folks, this is just a prime example of how the Communist News Network and the corrupt United States American quote-unquote media and press is just completely involved in. This is collusion. If you ever wanted to see collusion, this right here is collusion in its primest form right here. Collusion with the liberal, communist, socialist American party to hogwash and basically railroad the conservative American agenda. This is just ridiculous. And now they're shutting down the government because of it, refusing to pass. Oh, if they were so worried about these people getting a paycheck, they would pass a budget. They would pass a budget. They're so worried about feeding people that aren't even Americans and making sure that they get free health care and asylum into this country when they're thousands of miles away, that they're going to go ahead and, what does this say? Trading my services to perform maintenance in exchange for partial rent payments. Oh, please.
Well, of course, I mean,
please.
It speaks to the dysfunction. I mean, the idea that you're going to have
these are federal employees that they're claiming.
You know, if I paint the walls,
basically are having to fly will work for food signs or will work for rent payment to their landlords. Federal employees, give me a break.
Don't translate.